Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephanie Cartin. I am the co-CEO and co-founder of Socialfly, a social media agency that's located here in New York City. I'm also the co-host of the Entrepreneurship podcast. I want to start by thanking everyone for being here today. I am so excited to be here with you during Women's History Month to celebrate and recognize Cornellians who are making waves through entrepreneurship. We're excited to showcase how women are at the forefront, how we're founding businesses together, and we're making an impact. Whether you came here today to get inspired, to pitch your brand, to meet new people, which I hope everyone gets to talk to everyone sitting next to them and through our networking breaks, or whether you're looking to just connect with Cornell, we really hope you're going to walk away with tangible tips to move your story and your journey forward. As an entrepreneur myself, I'm excited to be surrounded by such inspiring women who are going to be speaking with you on stage today. And I'm honored to serve as your host and MC and to share my own story with each of you. So as far back as I can remember, I have always had an entrepreneurial spirit. Even as a child, I was always trying to figure out a way to turn things that were really popular or trending and then somehow make a business from it. And I'm sure I'm not alone in saying this, that my first taste came when I started selling Girl Scout cookies at 7 years old. Anyone else here? Girl Scout cookies? Yes. I still remember that feeling when I found out I was the top seller in my troop. There was nothing like that feeling. And then from Girl Scout cookies, I moved on to friendship bracelets. I noticed how popular they were, and all the girls in my class wanted them. So what did I do? I went out, I learned how to make friendship bracelets, and I started selling them to my classmates at Falls Mead Elementary School. It was a very lucrative market there at Falls Mead Elementary School. From there, I moved on to something called Pogs. I was on a vacation with my family in California, and I saw that this game was trending out there with kids called Pogs, and I turned to my parents and I said, okay, I'm gonna take all of the money I saved up for a vacation, I'm gonna buy all of these Pogs, I'm gonna bring them back to the East Coast, and I'm gonna sell them on the East Coast and start the whole craze, the Pog craze in Maryland, and that's exactly what I did. I rented a booth at the JCC, started teaching kids how to play this game, and then I think it was because of me this whole craze took off on the East Coast too. From there, I moved on to Beanie Babies. Do you guys remember Beanie Babies? Yep. So I noticed that these retired Beanie Babies, I think I was 11, 12 years old at the time, these retired Beanie Babies were becoming very popular and people were willing to pay a premium for them. So I decided to start saving up my allowance money, buying up all these Beanie Babies. I put up a sign in our grocery store with the little tag with my phone number. All of these moms were calling me. They were lined up at my house to buy these retired Beanie Babies, and I started making hundreds of dollars as a 12-year-old. And I was like, wow, this is really a thing here. You know, I didn't realize at the time I was learning some very powerful business lessons that were going to help me in the future. The importance of identifying trends and needs in the marketplace and then figuring out how to solve for it or make a business. So fast forward to 2004, I'm a sophomore at the hotel school at Cornell, and I get introduced to something called thefacebook.com. The Facebook was only available to Ivy League college students at the time, so we thought we were so cool that we got access to this. And I remember thinking, wow, this is really gonna change everything I'm learning about in my sales and marketing courses, but I didn't know quite how back then. So when I graduated from Cornell, I went to work in sales and marketing in the hospitality industry for a few years, and I always stayed on the forefront of everything that was happening with social media. And soon after, I had friends who were starting businesses. They were coming to me asking for help with sales and marketing strategies, and I started telling them, you know, you really have to start using social media. This is going to be the way of marketing in the future if you want to be able to reach your customers. So I started putting together these social media strategies on the side of my full-time job and quickly realized this was not an after-work activity. This could be a real business. And this is back in like 2009, 2010, before social media really is what it is today. So in 2010, I met my business partner through a mutual friend, also an entrepreneur, which is a theme here today. And we partnered together on the side of our full-time jobs. We worked nights and weekends for about 10 months working on client projects until we said to each other, we either have to go all in and do this business and start this social media agency or not do it at all. It was too much to be working full-time and trying to run this business on the side. So we quit our corporate jobs on May 4th of 2012, and we never looked back. We now have a team of 30 people. We've been growing rapidly over the past 8 years. I've been on the Inc. 5000 list for the past 2 years in a row and have grown and scaled our social media agency organically. We never raised money. We bootstrapped our business and did everything by doing great work for our clients and growing and scaling that way. Over the past few years, because of the success of our business, we've had so many other female founders that would reach out to us asking for advice on how we started our company and how they could grow and scale a business. And Courtney and I realized that if we were to go out to coffee with every single person who reached out to us, we actually wouldn't have time to run our own business. So we decided a little over a year ago to launch a podcast called the Entrepreneurship podcast, where we share stories of female founders and what it's like to grow and scale a company. So I hope you guys will all download the podcast and listen to it and share it with your friends and other people who are founding businesses, because we really just want to empower the future generation of female leaders. We just think it's so important. So back to Cornell. I learned so much from my experience at Cornell and starting my business. So many of the courses that I took in the hotel school, I was able to use so many of those tools that I learned in these courses, from my marketing courses to business law courses as I was starting the business. All of the education that I received was so relevant to my entrepreneurial endeavors. And now I'm working with my former marketing professor, Professor Cartin, to develop a social media certificate program for Cornell, which will hopefully be launching by the end of the year. And I'm also involved with the Cornell Entrepreneurship Advisory Council. So that is a little bit about my story, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. So let's talk a little bit about Cornell's entrepreneurial ecosystem. It is extensive, and that makes sense because Ezra Cornell was an entrepreneur himself. He was a co-founder of the Western Union Telegraph Company in 1855, and he was a self-starter, going from a laid-off carpenter to an international communications mogul. He went through professional and personal setbacks, but he went on to revolutionize how people communicated, and he used those proceeds to found the ultimate entrepreneurial venture, an innovative university that admitted any person at a time when college was just for a select group. It was radical, it was unconventional, it was controversial, but it was a venture that would make an impact far beyond his lifespan. The College of Human Ecology is particularly relevant today, not just because 4 of our speakers today are human ecology graduates, but because it was founded by women to meet the needs of women. Martha Van Rensselaer developed a science-backed and accessible learning opportunity for women and their families. Home economics as an academic discipline was a primary force in advancing women scholastically and in the professions. This female founder changed Cornell's academic landscape and propelled women's place in society forward, just like the founders that we have here today who are changing lives and industries alike. And it was with this spirit that Cornell continues to foster entrepreneurship on campus, which we're going to talk a lot about today, throughout New York State and in New York City. So what I want to share with you here is that there's one university minor in entrepreneurship and innovation, and this is now available to all college undergraduates. The Dyson, the hotel school, the engineering school, they all have concentrations and specific minors in entrepreneurship. There's over 100 courses that are related to entrepreneurship across all of Cornell's schools and colleges, and there's numerous accelerators and incubators in Ithaca and in New York City. In the world beyond the hill, female founders are on the rise, and they're significantly contributing to the economy and to society. Crunchbase reported that in 2018, nearly $40 billion were invested in companies with at least one female founder. So that's 17% of all invested dollars. And then a study by First Round Capital cited how women are winning. That women who receive VC funding perform 63% better than investments with all male founding teams. That's a pretty compelling statistic. And by coming together at events like this and supporting one another, these numbers are only going to continue to grow. So thank you all so much for being here today. This is just so important. To that point, Cornell has assembled a powerful cohort of alumni today and leaders and founders, and we're all here today to share stories and expertise, to teach us how we're breaking boundaries and convention and to move business and society forward. From tech executives to a wedding dress designer who we'll hear from to a VC investor, they are sure to inspire you and empower you as they answer questions about Cornell's efforts to advance women in STEM, to teach us how to build our squad and to share what it takes to build a global brand. And they're going to reveal how they've conquered many, many challenges. And of course, we're going to hear from some of you today during our audience open mic, so we can't wait to hear about some of your own ventures. All right, so now for the fun stuff. We're going to talk about a few housekeeping items before we get started. So the way today is going to be organized, we're going to have 3 segments, and then we're going to stop to do our audience open mic, which is going to be so much fun. Amanda's going to lead that. We're then going to have a 30-minute networking and snack break so everyone can get recharged and meet one another. It's so important that you guys all get to connect and meet today. After that, we're going to do 3 more segments, followed by some closing remarks, and then we're going to break for our closing reception. We're not going to do a formal Q&A today. This is being photographed and recorded, so be sure to smile, of course, always. And then, of course, we have to get social, so share all of the content from today across all of your social channels so we can reach as many people as possible with all the amazing content that's going to happen today. So you can use the hashtag Cornell Network on Twitter and Instagram. You can tag me personally at Steph Jill Cartin on Twitter and Instagram, and our Entreprenistas account at Entreprenistas. This event is brought to you by the Cornell Entrepreneur Network, the College of Human Ecology, and the Cornell University Northeast Corridor Office of the Alumni Affairs and Development. All right, are you guys ready for a great afternoon?